Lawrence, thank you so much. Good to see you. Look who's back with us. He's from House Ways and Means. He's Congressman Greg Steube and former economic advisor to former President Trump. He's Steve Moore. It's great to see you, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Congressman, more and more polls. It's Quinnipiac and now a new Gallup poll. This White House is a failure. Congressman, your reaction. Treasury Secretary Yellen testifies she has no answers on why the IRS showed up at the door, the home of Twitter Files journalist Matt Taibbi, the day he's testifying about government censorship. And then we have A.G. Garland testifying he doesn't know key details on how many school board parents the DOJ and FBI targeted as domestic terrorists. This is a crazy day in Washington.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we have the Committee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government to go after these abuses by the Biden administration to completely politicize these agencies to, in this case, harass a witness. And if you listen to Mr. Taibbi, he'll tell you that the IRS actually owes him money. So why are they reviving things, not notifying his accountant and all of these things? It's clearly, there's absolutely no coincidence that they showed up to his door, an IRS agent, on the day he was testifying before the Select Committee here in Washington.
And then, Steve, you know, this news, U.S. Marshals, this came out of the hearing today. U.S. Marshals were told to stand down and not arrest protesters at the homes of Supreme Court justices last year when that's against federal law doing that.
Well, look, let's go back to this IRS issue, because I just hope and pray that the congressman and his colleagues do not give another 87,000 IRS agents to hunt down conservatives as Joe Biden wants to. And I've had the same problem myself, Liz, where I had a $50,000 lien on my property, and it was one of the reasons I couldn't get appointed by President Trump. And when all was said and done, after the whole episode was over, the IRS said, oopsie daisy, actually, we owe you money. Well, these are the kinds of things that conservatives have been targeted since the Obama administration, when Lois Lerner was running that agency. And so I find it to be incredibly offensive. And does anybody in the world really think that it was a coincidence that they knocked on this journalist's door the day that he was supposed to testify?
Yeah, and now Gallup reports the president's job approval rating is still 40%. Congressman, that's his sixth straight month of the reading stuck at that range. He's underwater on the economy, energy, even the environment. And look at that, only 26% of independents approve of Biden and the economy. How can he announce again? How can he announce that he's going to run again?
Well, I think because there's not other people in the Democratic Party that even have better numbers than he does. And it's been crisis after crisis with this administration. And in the polling that we've seen, you see that the economy drives a lot of these decisions for your independents and your moderate voters. And they're completely underwater. They trust Republicans by 60–80% more on these issues to get inflation under control, to get spending in Washington under control, and the overall economic health of our country.
And Steve, what the congressman just said, real wages are falling after inflation, consumer debt at record highs. The economy was already in recovery when President Biden and Democrats rammed into it trillions of dollars more in spending. Now the Fed is trying to contain record inflation without triggering more bank failures with rate hikes, interest rate hikes. But we've got a new report. Steve, the president claims he is cutting the deficit. He's cutting debt, spending, but he unilaterally spent $1.5 trillion with executive actions. What do you think of that?
That's an incredible figure, and I think that's probably on top. I'm not sure if that's on top of the $6 trillion that were passed by the Democratic Congress before the Republicans took over the control of the House. And I liked what Congressman Byron Donald said in that clip that you showed earlier, Liz, that the Fed chairman told the Republican study committee that we don't need any more fiscal stimulus. Well, that seems pretty obvious, doesn't it, when you've had this avalanche of spending? And I want to make one other quick point, Liz. He is now on an Invest in America tour, and yet his budget, his tax policy, we just ran the numbers, would increase the tax on investing in America by 80%. Liz, if you tax something, you get less of it, not more of it.
Yeah, that's right. Congressman, your final word.
Yeah, the policies of this administration are horrible, and it shows in the inflationary numbers time after time again. I think we just saw it's at 6%. Under Trump, it was 1.7, and that is hurting everyday Americans every single day. They go to the grocery store and try to provide for their families.
Got it. Congressman Stubbe and Steve Moore, thanks for joining us tonight. Well,
Thanks,
look
Lindsay.
who's here, back with us now, the chairman of House Judiciary.